Well, hi, Keys Cougars, and welcome to another math lesson from the great outdoors. Hopefully you guys are getting out and getting some fresh air and now starting to think about our math. And we are starting a brand new chapter on geometry and fractions. Geometry means shapes, and fractions mean parts of things. So we're going to get started out with our chapter 11, 11.1. So get your paper ready and get ready for the video that we're going to watch first, and then we'll get right into our lesson. But before we get going with the video, I want you to have your chapter 11 book in front of you, and we're going to go through some of the pages just in the front so you can kind of learn a little bit about the geometry, the shapes, and the fractions. So go ahead and get your book, and I'm going to share my pages with you on the screen. Okay, so here's the beginning of your book. Oops, wrong one. Let me get the right one on here. That was chapter 10. We're doing 11. Okay, so here's the beginning of our chapter 11 right here, and it just starts out with a little story about a farmer's job. So, so you can go ahead and read the story, but what it does is it helps you to think about different objects in the real world, things that have a shape, and the different shapes that objects have, and you can find them all over. So, so it talks about the different shapes, and it asks you, what shapes do you see? You probably see triangles, and there's a triangle and a rectangle, and this is actually a parallelogram, and these trees are sort of cone-shaped. So there's flat shapes, and then there's solid shapes, or what we call three-dimensional shapes. So you can go through and, oh, and those are cylinders, round cylinders, and cones at the top. So you can read this and take a look at the different shapes. If it's in a ball shape, it's called a sphere. So take a look at the world around you and all the shapes. And this is, if you'd like to write a story, you can write your own story. And then what shapes do you see? You can match cylinder, rectangular, prism, or circle. Okay, so these are just some pages to go over different shapes, and then show what you know. See if you can do this page on your own. And this is a vocabulary builder. These are some of the words that we're going to be talking about in this chapter. Equal parts, shape, rectangle, triangle, square. So get used to hearing those words. And this is a game. So you might be able to play this game at home. And this is going to be the first page that we're going to be working on. So now we're going to watch and see what Jessie Bear has for us on three-dimensional shapes. And our essential question, what objects match three-dimensional shapes? And three-dimension means that it's not just a flat shape. It actually has something. Like my water bottle is not flat. It's a three-dimensional cylinder. Okay, so here we go with the video.
What objects match three-dimensional shapes?
Hey there! What's this? Someone left a baseball on the grass. You know, I never noticed before, but baseballs have kind of a neat shape. Click the ball to get a better look. Oh, look, a drawing, and it is shaped like the baseball. So what do you call something that has the same shape as a ball? I think there's a special name. I know that it's called three-dimensional, but there's another name too. Do you know? Well, let's go find out more about three-dimensional shapes. Then we'll learn the names of other shapes too.
Many real objects have this shape. Let's find some. Here are some real objects. Which of them have this shape? Does a shoebox have this shape? Yes, a shoebox does have this shape. All the surfaces of a shoebox are flat. What about a phone book? Does it have this shape? A phone book also has this shape. It has 6 flat surfaces. It also has a top and a bottom that match. Both the top and the bottom of the phone book are rectangles. Does a football have this shape? The football doesn't have this shape. It has no flat surfaces. Now let's look at this shape. Let's find the everyday objects that have this shape. Does a soup can have this shape? Yes, a soup can has a curved surface and 2 flat surfaces like this shape does. It also has a top and bottom that match. What about a paper towel roll? Does it have this shape? A paper towel roll has this shape too. Both the top and the bottom of the paper towel roll are circles. Does an ice cream cone have this shape? No, an ice cream cone doesn't have this shape. It has only one flat surface, and it doesn't have a top and bottom that match. How are these shapes alike? The shapes each have a top and a bottom that match. How are the shapes different? In this shape, the top and bottom are rectangles. In this shape, the top and bottom are circles. These are three-dimensional shapes. They can also be called solid shapes. One of these shapes is a sphere. A sphere has no flat surfaces. The entire shape is curved. Select the shape that's a sphere. That's right. This shape is a sphere. It's curved and has no flat surfaces. A cylinder is another three-dimensional shape. Cylinders have 2 flat surfaces that are opposite from each other. Select the shape that's a cylinder. Great job! This shape is a cylinder. A rectangular prism has 6 flat surfaces that are rectangles. Rectangles that are across from each other are the same size. Which shape is a rectangular prism? That's right! This shape is a rectangular prism. A cube is a special type of rectangular prism. It has 6 flat surfaces that are all squares, so the sides are all the same length. Which shape is a cube? Excellent! This shape is a cube. All of its edges are the same length. A cone has a curved surface. It also has one flat surface that's a circle. Which shape is a cone? That's right! This shape is a cone. Now let's match real objects to these shapes. Select the shape that matches the shape of a globe. That's right! A globe is a sphere. A sphere has no flat surfaces. Select the shape that has the shape of a funnel. Excellent! A funnel is a cone. Cones have one flat surface and a curved surface. Now, select the shape that matches the shape of the block. Great job! A block is a cube. Cubes have 6 flat surfaces that are all the same size. Now let's practice with the personal. Now try.
Thanks for helping me find the name of the three-dimensional solid that matches a baseball. See you soon.
Okay, so we have our paper here in front of us, and we want to look at our title, Three-Dimensional Shapes, which we already talked about, and our essential question, what objects match three-dimensional shapes? So for Listen and Draw, we are going to draw a picture of an object with the same shape shown. So our very first shape is called the rectangular prism. So I looked around my house, and you could look around your house too, and I found a little box. It's a little box of tea, and it is actually a rectangular prism. It has sides that are rectangular, and it has 6 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 faces. And so we call that a rectangular prism. And then for the cylinder, I found a little flashlight. Of course, my water bottle is a cylinder too, and so is a glass, but a little flashlight. So this is a cylinder. So I'm going to draw those. Now, if you want to pause the video for a minute and go find objects around your house that you could draw, go ahead and do that. And I'll start drawing mine, and you can draw yours too. Okay, so the way I draw, I'm going to try to draw my little box of tea. And it's hard because I'm using the mouse pad. And the mouse, it's kind of hard to draw using the mouse pad on my computer. But I'm doing my best. Okay, and I'm going to write T on it because that's what I'm drawing. But you might find a box of cereal or even a book is a rectangular prism. Okay, and then my little flashlight kind of has, it definitely has rounded or curved sides, and has a circle at the top, and it has a little switch here to turn it on. And I'm going to draw the the light coming out of it, so you know that it's a flashlight. And so those are my 2 objects. And down at the bottom, we're going to compare where it says Math Talk, describe how the 2 shapes are alike. Now, these do not look like they're alike at all, but if you look at them, they actually both have a top and a bottom. A top and a bottom. That is a flat surface. So that's how they are the same. And also, how are they different? Well, in the rectangular solid, all of the surfaces are flat. All 6 surfaces are flat. And in the cylinder shape, the surfaces are curved or rounded, where you can fit your hand will curve around the surface. Okay, so the next page. On this page, we see the different shapes, and they're labeled for us. So this is an important page to keep handy so you can see what the shapes are and how to spell the different shapes and what they look like. Cube, rectangular prism, sphere, cylinder, and cone. And which one of these objects has the same shape of a cube? Well, it's already circled for us, but the little block, it's a cube. And a cube has 6 faces or surfaces, just like a rectangular prism, but the cube, all 6 sides are square. The rectangular prism may have some sides that are longer. 4 sides that might be long and 2 sides that might be short. So that's the difference between a cube and a rectangular prism. Okay, and then circle the objects that match the shape name. This is sphere. So if you remember up here, which one is a sphere? This says sphere, and it's circular. And so that would be the basketball. Which one of these is a cube? And remember how we described a cube? All 6 surfaces are squares. So we want to look for something that has, these are rectangular, but all 6 surfaces on this little die are square. So we're going to circle this one as the cube. Okay, and then we move on to our next page. On the next page, this is on your own. So circle the objects that match the shape name. The first one is cylinder. So look at these 3 shapes. There might be 1 or 2 or 3 that are a cylinder. Rectangular prism, circle the shape or shapes that are rectangular prisms. 5 is cone. Circle whatever you see that is a cone. And cube, whatever you think is a cube. So you go ahead and do yours, and then we'll correct this together. Okay, so for the cylinder, well, we have looks like a little roll of paper towels. That would be a cylinder. Curved, we have a curved surface with a top, flat top and bottom. Rectangular prism. Well, a shoebox is a rectangular prism, and a box of tissues is also a rectangular prism. A cone. Okay, we have the cone here, and we have a cone here. A balloon is not a cone. It may kind of look like a triangular shape, but it does not have a flat top. A cone has a flat surface at the very top. That's what makes the cone. And a cube, the cube would be the little die. Die is 1, dice is 2. Okay, and now for math on the spot, circle the shapes that have a curved surface. Draw an X on the shapes that do not have a curved surface. So that makes sense because a circle is curved. So we'll put a circle around the shapes with a curved surface. And X, those are straight, so we'll put the X on the flat surfaces. And so let's go ahead and see math on the spot.
Mrs. Sandoval,
Yeah?
this place is dirty. It's so dusty.
Dusty, but it was just cleaned this morning.
You call that clean?
I think we should just get on with the math.
Well, okay.
Circle the solids that have a curved surface. Draw an X on the solids that do not have a curved surface. Here are our solids. Let's start with the cylinder. If we take a look at the cylinder, it has a curved surface. Do you see that?
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Curvy.
So we will circle our cylinder. Let's now look at the rectangular prism. The rectangular prism has flat surfaces. In fact,
Flat and dusty.
in fact, all its surfaces are flat. Therefore, we need to place an X on the rectangular prism. Now let's look at the cone. The cone has a curved surface.
Sure does.
So we can draw a circle around the cone. Next, we have the triangular prism. And the triangular prism, you see, also has flat surfaces. In fact, only has flat surfaces.
Only flat surfaces.
Therefore, we'll draw an X on our triangular prism. Next is the sphere. And the sphere has a curved surface. And we want to draw then another circle on the sphere because it has a curved surface. We're almost done.
Yeah, almost done out there.
Next, we have the cube. The cube has flat surfaces. This is another one of those solids that only has flat surfaces. And therefore, we draw an X on our flat surface, or I'm sorry, an X on our cube. And there you have it, Jeannie. What do you think?
Well, that was really, really interesting, Mrs. Sandoval. I feel like I should get you something. Oh, maybe perhaps a feather duster?
Jeannie,
yes,
for the
yes.
last time, this place is not dirty.
Are you kidding? Look at all the dust around here. It's everywhere.
Jeannie, when was the last time you cleaned your glasses?
I don't know.
Well,
Very good.
let me see if this helps.
Silly, silly me. I guess my glasses were a little dirty, huh? Oopsie doopsie.
Join us next time for some more fun with math.
Okay, so did you look at these shapes and figure out which one we need to put a circle around and which one we need to X out? Okay, we're going to circle the curved shapes. So the shapes with curved surfaces, which makes sense because a circle is curvy. And we're going to put an X on the shapes that do not have a curved surface. They have flat surfaces. Okay, so the cone definitely has a curved surface. The rectangular prism, all the sides are flat. It does not have a curved surface, so we'll put an X on the rectangular prism. The sphere, this has a curved surface. I have my little sphere right here. It's a little green ball, and it's spherical shaped. And then the cube, I don't have a cube with me right now, but a cube has all flat surfaces, so we will put an X there. And then the cylinder, like this, curved surfaces. So we'll circle that. So hopefully you guys understood all of that, and you're finding some really fun shapes around your house. And then we have one more page on our problem-solving applications, making connections. Reba traced around the bottom of each block. Match each block with the shape Reba drew. Now what that means is Reba took a piece of paper and she put her shape, she put the block on the paper, and then she traced the bottom. And so if you trace the bottom of this, what shape do you think you're going to get? That's right, you would get a rectangle. And so the rectangular prism, we draw a line down to the rectangle. Now on a cylinder, if you trace the bottom of a cylinder, what shape does that look like to you? That's right, it's a circle. Same with my water bottle, big circle. So the bottom of the cylinder looks like a circle. and then the bottom of a cube, and you could see right here, that would be the bottom shape, and that looks like a square. So if you want to do an experiment, you can take some different objects, some different three-dimensional objects, and trace the bottom of them and find out what shapes you get from tracing. You could trace this side, and you would get a rectangle. Sometimes you might get a square on one of the sides. Sometimes you might even get a triangle. And so, and on this, we will be matching the shapes. So this looks like a cube. Which object do you think is the cube? If you said it was the little die, that's it. How about the cylinder? Which one of these looks like the cylinder to you? Yep, it looks like this one is the cylinder. And the cone, of course, our ice cream cone right there. And our sphere is right there. Okay, well, I hope you have fun with naming the shapes. I love geometry because it's interesting that everything around us has some sort of shapes. You can look in your backyard. I see in my backyard I've got some bricks that have a rectangular shape, and I see the little wind, the little thing that's spinning over there has circles in it. So everything's made up of shapes. So go out and find some objects that have shapes. See if you can name them, and see if you can name all of the shapes that we talked about today, and have fun with your homework too. All right, we'll see you next time at our next lesson.